These words from Matthew chapter 6 are probably the hardest for me to internalize of most any in the Bible, because I was molded and shaped in that German territory of northern Pennsylvania on a farm where you did worry. You worried about the crops. You worried about having enough to feed your animals. You worried about getting everything done before winter. And to read a passage like this, for us old English, German folk, was almost anathema. Don't worry. Worrying is in our blood. We all worry. I think about how we used to get ready for winter. Our old farmhouse, the basement, the cellar, all the walls lined with canning shelves. And my mother, my grandmother, everyone in the neighborhood canned everything that was in the garden, so you would have tomatoes and beans and vegetables and anything you could imagine all winter long. And I think back on it now, and I realize as I walk in that cellar, that basement today, how many hundreds of jars of food were canned and waiting for us. There were only 4 of us. There was enough food on those shelves for 2 winters, maybe 3 winters. And any of you who have ever done canning in your lives know that after about 2 winters, 2 years, one needs to empty the jars, sanitize them, get them all cleaned and ready to go. You would have thought we were feeding an army, but one never had enough on those shelves. This idea of serving 2 masters, that at least I can relate to. Jesus is talking about God and talking about money. And as I think about the 2 masters, I think about this Greek word at the time, which was kurios, and it translated Lord. Who is the Lord in your life? And of course, for the early Christians, it was almost a treasonous statement in the Roman setting, but they would utter, Christ is Lord. And it was a time when Caesar was Lord. And everything about the culture of the day indicated that the one in power, the dictatorial center of control, was the Lord of your life. And in an amazing irony, we are living in a moment in time watching the unraveling of dictatorial power in the Arab world. And it is remarkable, and one would like to think this is working for good. It is remarkable to see the youth of the Arab world, who comprise anywhere from 40 to 55% of most of those cultures, yearn for something called freedom. Open debate, ideas shared. And it is an illustration of how a society can remain closed for only so long. But getting back to the 2 masters, Jesus talks about money, and then he talks about God. What will you serve? It strikes me that money is very finite. It's exact. And we're living in a time, in an age, perhaps once again, when there seems to be a lot of focus on scarcity. Money is finite. Things may be scarce. All we need do is look at the cost of fuel oil or gasoline or groceries, and we realize that there is competition for the resources of the world. All these things are finite, and it elevates our anxiety. One of the things that is interesting to me, you know, I still have that farm in Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture, with the help of satellites and Google Earth, is surveying all the farmland in the whole state and asking every farmer, everyone who owns an operating farm, to bring back online every available acre to produce food. Pennsylvania is strategically located near the eastern seaboard, the major cities of the East, and the Department of Agriculture wants no land wasted. Every acre in production. We're living in a challenging time, surrounded by all kinds of anxiety. But when you think about it, there is something that is infinite, not finite, but infinite, and that truly is God's love, and the love that nurtures, feeds, sustains my life and your life. I ran into an interesting quote that I want to share. Love operates from a different economy than money. I mean, when our second child came along, I didn't divide my love for my first child between the two. I suddenly had more love, more than I could possibly have imagined before. No doubt you've noticed the same thing, how the more love you give away, the more you have. Love, and especially God's love, cannot be counted, tracked, or stockpiled.